Kia ora, and welcome to Recycling Week's Rethink sessions, quick bite sessions for identifying opportunities to waste less. As is our podcast style, feel free to just listen in or you can watch the conversations unfold. I'm Inga, the Sustainability Manager here at Reclaim, the creators of New Zealand's Recycling Week, the largest nationwide campaign helping individuals and organisations take simple, meaningful steps toward reducing waste. It's Reusable Wednesday, and today we are joined by Sophie Wolland from Love Food Hate Waste. Sophie, can you tell us a bit about yourself and about Love Food Hate Waste?
Kia ora, Inga. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Sophie. I'm the Program Manager for Love Food Hate Waste New Zealand, and we run a nationwide campaign to help Kiwi households reduce their food waste. So everything from helping people to meal plan, to store their food correctly, to lots of really simple tips and tricks, including getting more creative in the kitchen to make sure they're making the most of what they have at home. So yeah, hopefully I can share a few top tips today, but excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. I know I always love hearing all of your tips, so looking forward to what we learn and the challenges we can set for ourselves during Recycling Week. So starting off from your personal journey, how has the way that you think about recycling and waste changed since you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I have really vivid memories of going, every other weekend to the dump or to the landfill with my dad, and we'd have a big, massive trailer full of green waste, but other crap was just sort of thrown onto the trailer before we left home. And my dad, to his credit, back in the day, he was pretty good at separating out some things that could be recycled, so a bit of scrap metal or glass, but mostly, everything just sort of went over the edge. And I remember kind of staring at that stinking kind of pile and thinking, like, this really can't be right. But it was just normal back then. And I really didn't think about the environmental impacts. I don't really remember at school kind of talking about it that much. Whereas if we fast forward to today, I think that there's really no excuse to not think about our waste. I mean, we can see the environmental impacts that we're facing now. We see it in the news, we see it on the side of the road. We see even with our food bills, where food's going to waste, we're just throwing dollars in the bin. And now there's systems and there's infrastructure to make everything much easier. So whether it's from reducing your waste in the outset, so lots of amazing things that can help you meal plan and reduce your food waste. But even, more broader, there's curbside recycling didn't even exist when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of really helpful apps and information. Your local council often has composting options. There's community drop-offs. So there's really a lot of resources out there that can support people. And I really believe that environmental stewardship belongs to all of us. And we don't need to be perfect. We just need everyone to take really small steps and put the right thing in the bin. Plan a couple of meals, eat your leftovers first. It's really all those small repeated actions that if every household across New Zealand took part in, we could make a real difference.
Yeah. No, 100%, I agree. If all of us could just change like one thing, that's massive change.
Exactly.
Add that all together.
Quite a cool way to think about it is to think about recycling or reducing your waste is just like brushing your teeth, it's a tiny daily habit that keeps everything healthy. And yeah, it's not that hard. We all manage to fit in a few minutes a day to do that teeth brushing. So why not think about it in the same way when it comes to waste and managing your waste?
I like that. That's a good way. Yeah. And when it becomes a habit, it's anyway just second nature at that point. So just like brushing your teeth, it's you don't think about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
So then with like your lifestyle, what's the waste minimization habit you've nailed in your daily life and one that you might still struggle with?
So I think and again, this is really having been part of Love Food Hate Waste for a couple of years now, it'd be wrong if I didn't flag a habit to do with food waste, and it's around meal planning. So I know, there are weeks that we fall off the bandwagon and we don't, carve out some time to think about our meals. Those weeks are the ones where we end up wasting more food, or we eat out and we waste money, or we just, it just adds to the mental load throughout the week. and it's just another tiring thing to think about. So one habit I'm pretty pleased to say I've fully integrated into my life is carving out half an hour generally on a Sunday with my husband to kind of make a flexible meal plan for the week. So I'm not super regimented, but we do kind of look at our schedules and think about what we've got on each night, what nights we're working late, or what nights we're just going to be tired and need to have a really easy meal. We look at what we've got already in the fridge and freezer that needs to be used up, and then kind of build out the meal plan for there. And making sure I'm planning in the use of leftovers, making sure I'm planning in a couple of meals from the freezer. So, leftovers maybe from a few weeks ago that are sitting there that I can just pull out and reheat on the nights that I'm really tired. And then, of course, making sure we write a shopping list. So, again, I know if I go to the supermarket without a list, I buy things I don't need, I end up with duplicates, and again, just sort of waste money that could otherwise go to the holiday fund. So definitely proud to have kind of fully adopted it, and we can definitely see it's made a difference on the bank balance. Something I'm still working on is repairing things. So I've been super inspired by the Repair Cafe network across New Zealand, and I'm pretty good with like simple things. So like a wobbly chair or sewing on a button, I'm pretty good at just actioning straight away. But more trickier stuff, I used to just go too hard basket, but now I have a repair queue or repair basket and I just put things in there that I know family or friends can help with. My mum and dad my mum's pretty good on the sewing side. My dad's very practical. So, when I know I'm going to visit them for a long weekend, I'll take a few things along that they can help me fix. But also, keeping an eye out for our local repair cafes. I recently got some help fixing my bike. And again, something I might have just sort of bought a new piece for, they were able to help me fix it. So it's something I'm really focusing on in the next 12 months is just taking a bit of extra effort to repair something rather than just discarding it without thought.
Yeah, no, I like that. Very cool that you have such helpful and handy parents and that they can also still feel of use to you as well.
Exactly.
Like, they don't need me anymore
now. So he loves it. He's just like, a little project. Yeah. And I think that's a message across, I've talked about kind of non-food stuff there, but something we see with the Love Food Hate Waste community, there's so much kind of knowledge within that older generation when it comes to food waste in particular, how to store things
using
properly, how to preserve. Yeah, and having the confidence to kind of use your leftovers or transform them. There's such a wealth of knowledge that older generation are willing to share. So I encourage everyone to chat to their parents or grandparents or elderly neighbours around what they might do with, when you've got a glut of lemons on the tree, for example, or Fijo season when they're just, real onslaught of Fijos in a very short period of time. None of that needs to go to waste. We can learn from each other and make sure it gets eaten.
Yeah, and then we learn new skills as well, which is always great. And we get that sense of achievement.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we save the planet and we save the bank. So
exactly.
Win. So obviously you're very familiar with food and food waste, and you are aware then that it's a huge issue here and likely world over. Would you say you're more of a creative leftover chef, or do you think you've had some tragic fridge clean-outs then? Maybe before Love Food Hate Waste times.
I'm proudly in the creative leftovers camp. Our place, we have an Eat Me First shelf, which is at eye level in the fridge. So we have this, one of our Eat Me First stickers from Love Food Hate Waste. You can get them for free. And they're reusable, but I have a dedicated, it's like a tray actually, because sometimes, the fridge, you need to move stuff around. So I have a tray that's labelled with Eat Me First, and everything that needs to be used up soon lives on that tray. So any leftovers, or that half a lemon, or when you've got half a bottle of sour cream left over, or different sauces, basically everything goes on there. And as I said earlier, we have meal planned, so there's always a leftovers night or a fridge harvest night, and that's where we kind of tackle that, or you start with that shelf. So there's always half a lemon or half a cup of rice or some leftover sandwich ham. It's normally on a Sunday afternoon when I've got the time to be a bit creative, and we'll do that kind of fridge harvest and come up with something special. I must say I haven't always been that confident in the kitchen to do that though, so it's again, a bit of trial and error. There have been the odd fails over the years.
Learnings.
It's
That's
quite
what I call
rewarding. Yeah. And I mean, I am lucky my husband is a chef, so he'll come and stick his nose in and give me a few tips if it's looking a little bit dodgy. But yeah, I've really realized that you can't really go wrong with a fried rice or like a frittata or anything can go into a wrap. I'm a big advocate for a wrap or a taco. It's much easier than you think. And the more you do it, the more confident you become. You're being able to put different flavors together, develops over time. And it's really rewarding. Like it definitely is nice when you basically, giving yourself a free meal using all those random bits and bobs that might have ended up in the bin.
Yeah, and creating new recipes.
Exactly.
We'll have to create a list though, like keep, don't keep. No.
Yeah, they're the odd ones where I'm like, that's not going to stay on rotation. That won't be something I'll try. I mean, worst case scenario, you put a bit of grilled cheese on top. That makes everything taste pretty good.
Fixes basically everything. So yeah, we've got quite a few creative leftover chefs, so I'm glad to hear it. And it's inspiring. Hopefully I'll make it a thing for our teams or something. Who can be the most creative leftover chef and then have a little competition here at Reclaim.
I love it. It's a great idea. In fact, actually, great opportunity for me to plug out a major campaign in March next year is all about leftovers. So we're going to be on the hunt for New Zealand's next leftover legends.
That would be
I
so
won't
cool.
share too much, but yeah, the more you can practice now using your leftovers, the better.
We'll start practicing now.
Exactly. I would say the most way to eat your leftovers is literally put it in a container and then take it for lunch the next day and heat it and eat it. Like that is the biggest thing. You don't have to transform into something brand new. Some dishes scientifically taste better the next day, and it's just a matter of remembering to take it for lunch. So in New Zealand, I think 98% of Kiwis say they either sometimes or always eat their leftovers. But leftovers are consistently the third most wasted food in New Zealand. So we have great intention. We're good at putting it into a container, but quite often bad at remembering to eat it. And it kind of gets lost at the back of the fridge, or you end up with a bit of a UFO graveyard in the freezer. So it's about following through and making sure we eat those leftovers.
What are the first two worst food waste?
Fruit and veg. Sadly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So when you think about all the time and effort and natural resources that go into producing fruit and veg, and like a good portion of Kiwis come from or are connected to farming communities, when you think about the physical labor even of producing the fruit and veg, it's huge. So it's really important we value it and make sure it doesn't go to waste.
Yeah, and that's, as you've said as well, groceries aren't cheap.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Want to make sure we eat them, especially such nutritious things as our fruit and veg. Being in maybe a more customer facing, public facing, maybe you've had more experience with it, or when it comes to celebrities and people that do have massive public platforms, how do you think such celebrities and public figures can play a role in shifting attitudes about waste?
I think celebrities and public figures can be really powerful when it comes to shifting attitudes and making kind of low waste living feel normal and not a niche thing. When someone you follow on social media or a celebrity, turns up at an event with a reusable bottle or talks about repairing their headphones instead of replacing them, or takes their e-waste to a drop-off point, it just starts to normalize that behavior, showcase how easy it can be. At Love Food Hate Waste, we love working with influencers, and it's a really important kind of pillar, especially for the younger generation. We're really passionate about working with people that can model those really simple and repeatable habits and do it in a really kind of natural and kind of non-preachy way. So it's about, it's not about perfection. It's just about giving something a go. Maybe you've not tried meal planning before because it just seems too scary and complex.
Daunting.
But even if it just starts with writing a shopping list. That's one step
Yeah.
to meal planning, but if you just start there. So yeah, we see celebrities and public figures, if they can share real life moments of eating their leftovers for lunch, or planning their meals, as I said, or borrowing an outfit for an event instead of buying a brand new one, or dropping off their soft plastics, it just showcases how easy and normal these behaviors are. And it's really through constant kind of exposure to these habits is how those habits spread, and how culture shifts and how we can really cut waste at scale and drive that long-term behavior change.
Making it, I suppose, not entirely, but I suppose like glamorizing it, if they're doing it, oh, it's cool to do it, and just normalizing it. One of our speakers also talk about like TV shows, just having in the kind of side scenes or whatever, when someone's talking, you see them maybe like thinking about which recycling bin to put something into, or
Exactly.
show them scraping after they've chopped their food or something, show them scraping that into their compost bucket.
Exactly.
Just like little touches that send that
totally.
subliminal message.
Yeah. Or when they're in the office, someone in the background eating their leftovers for lunch.
Like looking
definitely
in the fridge, and then it's like their leftovers with their name on it or something, and grabbing
or even better, they eat me first shelf discreetly in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's why we also love working. We've worked with some different TV shows, and especially where it's kind of going in and helping Kiwi families look at what they do from perhaps a budgeting point of view, but really thinking about food waste. And it is those real life stories that can inspire that action. Someone sees themselves in those people and thinks, that is something that I can adopt. Actually, that wasn't that hard, or maybe it's just worth giving it a go. And then, they can adapt it to suit their lifestyle.
We'll try to make it, like not overcomplicate it. Just, it's always the first step, I think. Maybe that's the most difficult, or just maybe misunderstanding things. So thinking it's more difficult than it is. And then when you do it, as you say, you're like, oh, it wasn't that hard. I can do that again.
Exactly. Yeah. Like even with soft plastic. So it was probably only a couple of years ago where I came back from living abroad for many, many years, and I saw like our curbside recycling. I couldn't put soft plastics in there, and I didn't even know I could just pile them up and take them to the local supermarket. Now it's just become an ingrained habit. But again, like friends I was talking about it to recently, they were just like, oh, it's just too hard, and it's like, if you just have a bag in the cupboard that you just stuff it all in, it just becomes habit. When you go to grab your shopping bags to take to the supermarket to do your grocery shop, you just take the one that's also full of soft plastic. So it's easy. It's just small little changes. Within a few months you kind of don't even think about it and just becomes part of your routine.
Looking back then at your own habits, what's been the most surprising thing you've learned about waste or recycling that's shifted your perspective?
I think it is the kind of small steps approach. Like I used to think I had to kind of overhaul everything at once, and especially even when I started with Love Food Hate Waste, it's like, right, okay, I have to store everything perfectly and plan with every single step and do everything perfectly. And now I'm kind of all about just progress, not perfection. So just pick one habit and repeat it, and then add the next over time. The other thing with food waste for me, I just sort of had a bit of a mindset flip. I used to, when I threw some food out, which in our household was quite often bread, every week we'd buy a baguette, and like that last third of the baguette would end up going hard or going moldy, and I kind of just throw it out, even into the compost bin. I wouldn't feel so bad because it was going in the compost bin. But now I kind of look at the whole story of that food, and the water that went into producing it, the land and energy that went into growing it, the energy of the transport to get it from the farm to the packing facility, from the packing facility to the supermarket, from the supermarket to me. All the time and money saved is, when you think about it through the full supply chain, it just made me kind of think, wow, I need to value this more. It's not just something I can easily throw away. And then obviously there's, cost of living has gone up significantly. And that was another kind of good reminder of, you're literally just throwing money away. But for me, it's not just the money, it's also kind of all the effort and resource that went into it. And it should be treasured, it should be really looked at that helped me kind of looking at it in the full kind of spectrum of things. So I guess the big thing for me is it's not hard to change. Well, it is hard to change in the long term, but you can just start with something simple.
Small steps, big change.
Big takeaway. And kind of to get the motivation to do that small, simple step is really kind of thinking about the impact of throwing that one single thing, not just the money side, but all the resources that went into creating it.
Yeah, I like how thoughtful you've been with that then. More of us were like that, there would definitely be less waste. There'd be less of a lot of that.
I know, it sounded a bit cheesy, so I like to,
I like it.
It's definitely not about being perfect either. It's just about consistency. If we had a nation of everyone just doing a little bit better, that outweighs, just a few people doing things perfectly. So we need mass adoption of just a few small things. Food waste, starting with food waste is one of the easiest actions you can take to reduce the impact you have on the climate.
Something that we all, partake in, we all eat. So
exactly.
My final question then for you is, during Recycling Week, we encourage people to identify opportunities to minimize waste and make a pledge to do something different going forwards. So that small step, leading to big change. What would be your Recycling Week pledge?
My Recycling Week pledge is to get better my batteries. So Wastefizz, which is the organisation I work for, which Love Food Take Waste sort of sits within, currently has a battery hunt going where you can identify all the batteries in your house, because we do send a lot of batteries to landfill, and lots of people end up putting batteries in their household rubbish bin. So a commitment I have is to do that scavenger hunt, to kind of take a mental note of all the batteries we have, and get better at putting them aside and taking them to the recycling centre, or wherever I can dispose of them safely. So just like with the soft plastics, I kind of was like, oh, that's something I should do, but never got around to doing it. And just making sure I have a dedicated place to put all those old batteries is something I'm gonna start, so I can take action when I've got a few of them collected.
Prevent any more battery fires. Okay. So our final segment will be that game Bin It to Win It. So I'll be naming a few random recycling materials, and then you decide where each one goes. And if you get 3 or more correct, you will win the game.
Okay. Ooh, so I'm nervous.
We'll start off with what I think might be easy. I don't know. Eggshells.
Eggshells. So eggshells should go in your compost bin, or in your worm farm, or in your food caddy.
Yes. Exactly. They came from nature, that can go back into nature. I think maybe since they're not like a fruit peel or with that moisture content or something, I don't know, sometimes maybe people get a bit confused.
That's a great way to think about it though. If it comes from nature, it can go in there. That's a great phrase.
Thank you. Next one, we're going to go with a broken jandle.
Oh,
Summer's
broken
coming.
Jandle. Yeah, okay.
Blowouts.
Well, that goes in your repair basket,
yes.
First and foremost. So you can see if you can repair it, depending on where the breakage is, I guess. It will depend on whether there's something to do with that. But I think if it is sort of beyond repair, I think unfortunately that one might be the rubbish bin.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, sadly we don't quite have a rubber collection. Maybe if we got all the jandals in New Zealand together, then we'll be able to find an outlet, but on the occasional basis that we get them, would be landfill, unfortunately. What about broken drinking glass?
Broken drinking glass. Again, I'm pretty sure you can't put broken drinking glass in your recycling bin, for sure. So I think the only place is in your bin, unless, of course, you could turn it into some sort of arts and craft moment, perhaps. But that can't go in your recycling bin, for sure.
Awesome. Correct. You're on a roll. You've already got 3, so, the rest of them will be easy. What about a empty soup tin,
like a regular can, like a soup tin, like a baked beans can type
Yeah.
tin. Yeah.
Or a baked bean
So
tin,
that
same
you want to rinse out. Firstly you have to take the top off. Yeah, the cap or the top bit. Give it a good clean, and that can definitely go in your recycling bin.
Yes. If it's any of those ones that I think peel and it like stays stuck, I think then it can still go in your recycling together as long as they're together. Otherwise, might get some cut fingers for the people sorting that out. What about like chicken bones?
Chicken bones, well, they can go in your worm farm. Well, I mean, I do put them in there. I should know this one. And they can actually go in your food scraps bin. I mean, your compost bin, probably not so much if you're in an area where you might get rodents with any kind of meat, but they can go in there. But I think it's, you kind of might want to be careful if you're in an area that's prone to getting rodents. So where they should go,
unless it's far away from your house. No.
Yeah. But where they also can go is in a pot with some water and other vegetable scraps, and you can make a beautiful broth, beautiful stock out of them. Great for turning into a stock.
I love that. And if you have any neighborly or your own pet dogs, I'm sure they'd love all the bones they can get.
Our dog can't have chicken bones. They're too small, but a big bone.
Oh, yeah. Other bones then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all
I made
our...
it. I passed.
You did it. You passed. You're a winner. You can stay. No. Yeah, no, good job. And thank you again for coming and joining us and teaching us. I've definitely learnt a few things, and hopefully all of our listeners have learned a few things. So thank you for educating us during Recycling Week. I'm looking forward to March to see that Leftover Legends challenge.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to have you and the whole team on board. But yeah, I'd just like to thank you as well for having me. You guys do a phenomenal job, and we're really proud to support what you guys do. And if anyone is keen to take part in the Leftover Legends campaign, or more tips and tricks on how to reduce your food waste at home, I encourage you to check out lovefoodhatewaste.co.nz.
I recommend it as well. We've got lots of those Eat First stickers that we shared around the office here. And I've seen some of them in our fridge. So
awesome.
Great.
Great. Actually, I should have said earlier when I'm talking about these small habits as well, it's a free email challenge. It's called Beat the Bin. And you get 4 challenges over 3 weeks. And there's 2 different options. There's a quick win, and that takes less than 5 minutes. Or there's a Waste Warrior challenge, which is a little bit more intense, but not massively difficult. So if anyone's keen just to learn a few tips and tricks and to commit to, perhaps that could be their Recycling Week commitment, is to start the Beat the Bin challenge and just start with those quick wins. It's amazing how rewarding it is, and it's sort of like when you go to the gym. You go to do a few classes, and you kind of get into it, and it motivates you to want to keep going and doing more and sticking with it. So it's a great resource. It's free, and you get them get reminders and straight to your inbox every couple of days. Great starting point for anyone looking to take action today.
No, I love that. Okay, I'll get my team on board with that. I think it'll be a good challenge for us. I'm just looking for all the challenges we can get in there.
Awesome.
Thank you again.
Have
a lovely rest of your day. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.